Surviving your first days in the long dark can be a real challenge. Whether you're new to survival games or a veteran of the genre, the long dark offers a unique and harsh environment where the smallest mistakes can be deadly. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 essential tips that will help you navigate those critical early days and set yourself up for success. From managing your warmth to being smart about what you carry, these tips will keep you alive just a little bit longer. Let's dive in. The first tip is all about starting off on the right foot, by choosing the right difficulty. While it might be tempting to jump into the harder modes, especially if you've played other survival games, The Long Dark plays by its own rules. Starting on Pilgrim or Voyager will give you the breathing room to understand the game's core mechanics, like finding shelter, managing your hunger and thirst, and, most importantly, dealing with the cold without the constant pressure of intense wildlife aggression or extreme weather. These modes are designed to teach you the fundamentals while still allowing you to explore and experiment without punishing you too quickly. You'll be able to take your time, learn where resources are located, and figure out strategies to survive longer without constantly feeling on edge. Once you've gotten a feel for the game and how it works, you'll be ready to face tougher challenges. But no matter what mode you choose, one thing remains the same. Staying warm is absolutely essential. And that brings us to the next tip. Your second priority should always be fire. In the long dark, a fire is not just about cooking food, it's your lifeline. Without fire, you'll freeze to death, especially during longer treks or nights out in the wild. To build a fire, you'll need to gather a variety of materials, and not all fuel is created equal. Small items like sticks are abundant, but they won't keep you warm for long. That's where firewood comes in. Fir and cedar firewood will burn longer and provide more heat, while coal burns even hotter and longer, making it the most effective fuel for those especially cold nights. And don't forget the other critical component of fire crafting, your fire starter. Matches, fire strikers, and flares are some of the easiest ways to ignite your fire. But in a pinch, you can even use magnifying lens during daylight. The key here is to always be on the lookout for those materials as you explore. Whether you're scavenging in abandoned buildings or foraging in the wilderness, having a well-stacked supply of firecrafting materials means you can always create a fire when you need it most. Of course, while fire is critical, it's not the only thing standing between you and the freezing cold. The clothes you wear are just as important, and that leads us to tip number 3. When you first start the long dark, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is underestimating how quickly the cold will kill you. While hunger and thirst are long-term concerns, the cold can bring you down in a matter of hours. That's why you need to prioritize your clothing right from the start. Whenever you find extra clothing, whether it's hats, gloves, scarves, or coats, equip them immediately. Even small items like mittens or a simple scarf can drastically reduce how fast your body temperature drops. Layering your clothing is a key strategy here, as it allows you to maximize your warmth. But it's not just about adding layers. Pay attention to the quality of the clothing too. Damaged clothes won't provide as much insulation, so take the time to repair them when you can. This is where cloth and sewing kits come into play. Always keep these on hand so you can patch up your gear and maintain that critical warmth. Remember though, that not all clothing items are equal. Some will offer more protection against wind, which can sap your warmth faster than just cold temperatures alone. Always check your clothing stats for both warmth and windproofing to make sure you're getting the best possible protection. Additionally, try to plan your outdoor excursions around the weather. If you see a storm rolling in, it's best to hunker down and wait it out rather than risk venturing out into the extreme cold. A little patience can go a long way in ensuring you stay alive. So, you've got your clothing sorted. But that won't mean much if you're constantly wandering around in the cold. That's where smart time management comes into play. The temperature in the long dark is constantly changing, and as you might expect, the nights are the coldest. If you want to conserve your resources and avoid freezing to death, it's crucial to plan your day wisely. During the day, temperatures are higher, making it safer to explore and gather resources. You should use daylight hours to travel, hunt, or scavenge. And once night falls, find shelter and stay indoors. This doesn't just save you from the cold, it also reduces the amount of food and fuel you'll burn through trying to stay warm. At night, it's best to use your time for rest and recovery. Sleep when you're indoors and safe, especially if you've got enough food and water to last through the night. If you manage your time efficiently, you'll be able to stretch your resources much further. Another key part of surviving is knowing when and where to travel. Before you head out, take a moment to plan your route. Where are you going and what are you trying to find? Are there nearby shelters you can use in case of a sudden drop in temperature or a blizzard? It's also important to recognize when to turn back. If the weather shifts and you're too far from safety, it might be better to retreat to a known shelter and regroup rather than push forward and risk freezing or getting caught in a storm. Always think one step ahead and don't let greed or overconfidence get the better of you. Now that you got your day planned out and know when to seek shelter, let's talk about something that can really slow you down. Carrying too much stuff. In many survival games, hoarding items is a valid strategy, but The Long Dark takes a more realistic approach. Your character can only carry so much weight, and carrying too much will slow you down and drain your energy faster. You want to be smart about what you take with you on your journeys. Essential tools like a hatchet or a pry bar are must-haves, but beyond that, think carefully about what's worth the wait. For example, carrying around a lot of food might seem like a good idea, but raw meat will attract predators like wolves and bears, which can quickly turn a routine trip into a deadly encounter. Instead, think of your shelter as your base of operations. Store your extra supplies there and only take what you need for the task at hand. A lighter load means you can travel further and faster, which will be the difference between life and death if the weather takes a turn for the worse. Another thing to keep in mind is that The Long Dark gives you plenty of ways to manage your inventory. Always check your weight and fatigue levels before setting out. If you're too tired or overloaded, your movement speed will suffer, and that's dangerous when you need to make quick decisions or escape a sudden threat. One smart strategy is to set up supply caches along common routes. This way, you won't need to carry everything with you all the time, but you'll have resources readily available when you need them. So there you have it, 5 essential tips to get you started in The Long Dark. These strategies will help you stay alive during those critical first days, giving you a strong foundation to build on as you continue to explore the game's brutal world. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more The Long Dark tips and guides. And as always, stay warm and stay safe out there.